Hello, this is Grandma Jan from Red Toad Art Studio. And today we are going to make some paper to collage with. And I want to make some black and white paper today. So, let's get started. Today I'm using an Artist Loft acrylic paint. But you could also use craft paint that you buy in the store in those little tubes. In fact, I'll show you one. You can get this kind of paint at stores like Walmart and of course your craft stores. And they're very inexpensive. They run, less than $1 I think. I haven't bought anything lately. But these are a very cheap alternative and these will work just fine in what we're doing today. This is a craft paint. And this, I believe, came from, I think, Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure. This was a gift to me, and I'm going to use it for this project. And I want to make all kinds of stripes and designs and doodles and baubles and all kinds of things for paper that will be torn up and used in collages. So let's start. Let's just make, I think, some stripes. I've seen an awful lot of collages using stripes, and I love the way the stripes look. And we don't have to be picky or perfect or anything. We just want some designs. Now I'm painting on just regular old copy paper right now. Okay, let's lay this aside to dry. Let's do one with dots. Now you can do it with the top of a lid. This came off my stick glue. I'll show you what one of those will look like. Woo! Well, I put too much paint on that, didn't I? These make funny looking dots, don't they? But you know, that's okay. We just want all kinds of shapes. Let's try. This came in a rock painting kit. You might happen to have some of these, and see how well these work. It might have a flatter bottom. Let's see what it does. There we go. I'm not a very good dot maker, it seems. Some of these dots are coming out pretty good. This is the first time I've tried this, so you're learning with me. I think it's a matter of just playing around. Let's see if we can get some of this black out of that. There, I really smooshed that one good. Let's get some of that off of there. Some dots and some not so dots. Let's see what the end of an eraser looks like. Here's a fairly new pencil. It hasn't been used, but I think the eraser has fossilized in my drawer. Let's experiment with this. See what we get here. I think that makes the best dots of all, just a plain old pencil eraser. Let's put a bunch of dots on here and see. This looks kind of like a mess, but you know we'll love these papers when we go to do torn paper collages. Abstract collages. I like what this pencil eraser does. Let's try and see what the lead end does. Now, you probably don't want to do this with a pencil you want to keep. But if you're like me, you have a lot of school pencils laying around. You buy them every year for the kids and never use up a whole pack. Now, it doesn't make quite as good of a circle as the eraser end did. But I think that is neat. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's do a few more of these through here. Now I have a smaller one of these that you use in painting rocks. Let's see what it does. It will probably look about like the eraser ones. Yeah, it does. It's about the same size. So although these are wonderful to have in a kit for making painted rocks, you can use the tip of an eraser and get good results. Okay. Let's see. Oh, here's a tiny one. Let's see what this does. This would be like using the end of a paintbrush. We'll do that too. Oh, this makes nice sized dots. Okay, and just to show you, if you have none of those things, use the tip end of your paintbrush. And look at that. I actually think the paintbrush and the pencils make the best dots. Alright, let's just make some squiggles now with the paint. Okay, going to lay this one aside. I like the idea of making more squiggles. Let's just do some blobs and squiggles. Woo! These will be fun to use on some abstract collages. Kind of feel like I'm in kindergarten playing with finger paints. There were some nice stripes. you tear these papers into little pieces, and you'll just get parts of these squiggles and stripes. It might be a good idea to keep some baby wipes around while you're doing this, because it's easy to make a mess. Okay, let's see what else we can come up with. I think we need a little more paint. Let's try some with a smaller brush. Now you have to enjoy getting kind of messy to do this kind of thing. Look at my hands. Let's do some numbers. We have a backward number there. And a few letters. And I don't know if we can do a simic writing with this thick of a brush, but let's give it a go. A simic writing, I've just run into that. I didn't know it existed. It's shapes that look like writing, but it really isn't any letters, or it doesn't say words. It has no meaning, but when you glance at it in a collage, it looks like you're saying something. And it's up to the viewer to decide what was said. those are pretty good dots too, aren't they? All right. Already I have 5 papers drying. Let's see, what about stamps? I have some of these. I'm not sure, they're made out of rubber or something. Let's see what those look like. I'll do leaves. And here's a flower. Let's try that. Now, you can do this in all kinds of colors, and we'll be doing colors in a later video. But I specifically want some black and white designs to put on top of other paint and papers. It really sets things off. Let's try this fern. Don't squish as hard. Tap down lightly, and that came out better. And you know you can use all kinds of paint to do this. Oops, I squished that one good, didn't I? But that's all right, it's still usable. You can even use house paint if you wanted to. There's no rules. And we'll do one day where we use watercolors because you get a nice vintagey look with that. I still have a tendency to want to squidge crooked. Let's try that again. That came out pretty good. That came out better yet. The less paint on it, then the better. And you'll figure that out by trial and error with whatever you have for stamps. Interesting. These are going to be fun to clean up. All right, let's try this leaf. I'll try not to put so much paint on it. There. First one, too thick. That's all right. These are going to look really neat, though, the way we're going to use them. Let's try the flower. Yeah, but still, it might look okay. I'm not sure the flower shows up as good as those leaves do, but interesting. I'm going to try a couple more things before we move on to another way. We're going to make a few with markers in a minute. I have this squishy, rubbery thing that has little rough spots on it. I want to see what that will look like if we put it down. Go through your house and find all kinds of things. I think this will just smudge. But we won't know till we try it. I don't have any bubble wrap, or I would use some bubble wrap. I know it makes good things. Well, that's interesting, though. Now, that one did smudge. Kind of interesting, though. Like grunge. I'm sure you'll come up with all kinds of different things than what I have found around to try. I'm going to have quite a session of cleaning, aren't I? And then I wanted to try some of these. This was the middle, I think, of a Scotch tape roller. And see if we can make kind of like what would look like a coffee cup set down. Yeah! Funny, we don't want rings on our furniture, but we'll make them on purpose for our collage work. What if we do a double ring? Let's see. Oops, we got a bunch of stuff there that we don't want. But that's alright, it can be a messy one. I kind of like where the double ones are. I like that. Let's try a different lid. Now, this one's so big I think I'll have to paint it on it. Okay. A double ring. I'm about out of paint here. Let's see if I can get a little bit more on. There we are. Now, I think that's all we're going to do with paint, and we're going to do some mark making. Okay, I hope you've taken a few minutes to clean your tools and your containers, because once that acrylic sets, it will come off, but it's a little bit of work to get it off. And I would suggest, although I used a ceramic palette to put mine on, that you use something like a paper plate that you can throw away. It'll save you some time in the cleaning of everything. Now, I want to try some marker work. If you're like me, you've probably covered up all your drying space for your pieces of paper. And markers won't require that. Now, I want to use a black Sharpie marker, a permanent marker. Be sure you try these out with water or Mod Podge or something to be sure they don't smear before you put them on a collage. But let's do some stripes and squiggles and writing with our pen, and we'll get a lot finer work. You can see the difference here in what we get when we use our pen. Let's do some checkerboard. And some squiggles. And some writing. Put some dots. These are very tiny dots, and those will be neat somewhere, though. How about some hearts? Some things that might be neat stems or something. Now, I would suggest you do some of these same things on white tissue paper. Those will really make some neat marks to paste on your collages. In fact, let's do one real quick. I'd say when you get gifts, collect tissue paper to use on your collages. I have quite a collection here. I want to get some white out. See if I have some white. There's a piece. Think what this might look glued on, or how neat this might be glued on a collage. And of course, if you're doing Christmas collages, there's those. But let's just do some with mark making in our pens, since I've already cleaned up after my mess of painting on my paper. Just section up your tissue paper into smaller sections, because you'll be tearing this too. Okay, now it will be neat to paint on some of these, but as I said, I've put my paint up, so I'm not going to do that today, but I will make some with my markers. And the same sort of lines that we did before. Now, if you can get some of those great big fat markers, that would make some very neat stuff. Now, this is a lot thinner than our regular paper to work with, and you have to be kind of careful with it. Now, I'll be using some of these papers in our next few videos, so check it out and see how these work. We're also going to make some watercolor paper one of these days. It definitely has a life of its own. All right. I hope that's given you plenty of ideas to start out on making your own collage papers. And again, these were just black and white. We can make collage papers in every color you can imagine and make so many of your own papers. You don't have to buy them. You make your own to make abstract, and you can cut shapes and flowers and leaves and buildings out of them too. And I hope you enjoy doing this. Enjoy making the mess. I don't really enjoy cleaning up the mess, but I will enjoy using these papers. So I hope you're having a good day today, and I will say bye-bye for now.